Alright, everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today, my guest is my good friend, Jaque Almeida. Probably messed that up. Sorry, Jaque. Jaque is a brown belt, a Jiu-Jitsu world champion. She is a ladies Jiu-Jitsu and self-defense coach, co-founder of Mind and Body Defense, a sports commentator, and a sports engagement strategist, as well as a PT, and so much more. Unfortunately, we hardly got to scratch the surface of any of that today, but we did get into the origins and the love that Jaque has for Jiu-Jitsu, her experience working with Train Alta, not to mention her experience working with the UFC, teaching women self-defense, and so much more. Speaking of teaching women self-defense, Jaque will be conducting a seminar on the 3rd of June at 3:30 p.m. at Locomotiva BJJ. Now, in the podcast here, at the time of recording, it was a different date. So I think we said something like the 20th of May in the podcast, but it is actually the 3rd of June, which is, as of now, next week. So you still have time to sign up and take part in what is going to be undoubtedly a great experience. The cost, I believe, is only €25. You will have to register on Eventbrite. There will be a link below, and all the details can be found there. Speaking of Locomotiva, they are our first official sponsor. They have been kind enough to provide us with the space to record this podcast. Not just any space, but a wonderful, beautiful space. Not to mention that at Locomotiva BJJ, you will be receiving a world-class education in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from one of the best brown belts, period, Edson Jr. Edson is a brown belt out of SBG HQ under John Kavanaugh, and this gym was opened only a short time ago, less than 2 months ago, I believe. It's a great spot, great location. I highly recommend you check it out. If at very least, please go to their Instagram page and give them a follow. Their Instagram is locomotiva_jiu-jitsu. Again, all linked below. And then certainly, I cannot forget about myself, Wolverine Fightwear. Check it out. Wolverine Fightwear specializes in BJJ and MMA styled streetwear and apparel, as well as related gear and content. Speaking of content, I have a little project that I am going to be shooting soon and hopefully releasing by the end of next month. It's going to be a little mini-series / mini-doc. I don't want to give too much away, so if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely give us a follow, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Check us out. Here we go. Enjoy.
And here we go, 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 go,
Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back, I hope. Today I have my friend, Miss Jaque. How do you say your surname?
Almeida.
Okay, I was going to say that.
Almeida.
Okay.
Yeah. Jacqueline Almeida.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jaque and I know each other from SPG. At the time, I was doing the Wimp Warrior, but Train Alta now.
Yeah.
And you kind of stepped in about middle of the way through, I think. As one of the jiu-jitsu coaches. So, let's start there. How did that opportunity come up for you?
Actually, John Kavanaugh, he messaged me that he would like to have a female coach.
Okay.
Over there to either represent the females or adding to few details of jiu-jitsu as well to the guys over there. So he messaged me and then he offered me the opportunity, and as a jiu-jitsu lover, so I just accepted that, and was great opportunity because it was between 5-6 ladies over there as well. And it was great to see all the ladies over there like mix with the guys as well, and they weren't afraid of being there, being on the mats. And then I think for them as well to see a ladies step in, that gives an extra hope that I actually like, okay, I can do it. Because when I started jiu-jitsu, that's what happens to me. So I saw 3 purple belts there, and then I was like, I want to be like them. I want to train like them as well, and then I want to improve my techniques like them. So eventually, like it's like not a mirror, but like have a coach or have someone that is similar to you. You're just gonna like, oh no, I can do it as well.
That's great, and I'm happy that he called you. What was it? Was there anything about that program that like kind of drew you to, you know, accepting it or saying that like, yeah, this is something I'll do? Or was it just solely to try to be that female face for the other women who were involved?
To be honest, I love BJJ, I love martial arts. So anything which is me being a coach, it's just another opportunity. It wasn't something specific. I value this program a lot because there is like an introduction to mixed martial arts. So few people that don't want to step in, having this program that everyone is in the same level, that's like a big opportunity to them. So then that's the reason why I accept. However, I do accept anything which is like be able to coach jiu-jitsu and then explore more, or like show the whole world how jiu-jitsu is important. I always gonna accept.
That's awesome. So I guess, how long have you been training? How long have you been training? So you're a brown belt now.
I'm brown belt now.
How long have you been a brown belt?
About 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got my brown belt with my coach in Brazil. It was COVID time by the time he gave me a surprise. He asked John Kavanagh if he is agreed to give me the belt, and he agreed. So I got my purple belt. My brown belt was COVID time. So I'm about like 2 years at the moment. But I trained jiu-jitsu about 12 years. And then I trained not back and forward, but I had a few injuries that stopped me to train about a year and a half. And then when I came to Ireland, which is 7 years ago, 7 years and a half to be more specific, I stopped as well because my priority was like learning English first and then work and all of that. So I need to stop a few times. However, altogether it would be 9 years and a half, 10 years, if I put all together that I've been training.
How often do you train? Would you train every day or?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I train every day. At the moment, because the injury that I got on my knee from last year, it stopped me these few months, but I'm come back to my routine. To be honest, I really train like twice a day. So I mix with wrestling, strength conditioning, and drills and jiu-jitsu. So I have specific days for it. Really depends the way my week go. However, I do like plan my week on Sundays. So it's just like, okay, I'm gonna doing some like a little bit hard sessions on Monday, like drill, and a little bit hard session in the evening. And then on Tuesday, I drill more and then mix with strength conditioning. And then Wednesday will be wrestling and strength conditioning as well. And then during the weekends, it will be like more drilling and strength conditioning. And then the other days will be jiu-jitsu focused only. So it really depends. There is a week that I focus more. Like there is a week that I focus more in jiu-jitsu and then in technique, and then the other week that I feel like, okay, now I'm feeling stronger, so I can go a little bit harder. And then if I feel that I'm changing a little bit my diet and I don't feel it as the energy that I supposed to feel on that week, and then I was like, okay, that's the time for me to learn the technique. So I mix a little bit around, but every week I need to get something from what I need, you know. So that's it.
That's pretty cool. I guess, like, what are your goals or aspirations to do with jiu-jitsu? Like, do you want to go into MMA? Do you want to be like a fight, or do you like coaching, or like what is it that you want to do?
Well, I have many dreams to go around. Before I tried a lot to, especially because we came from an MMA gym, which is SBG. It's pure MMA. Who knows SBG knows about it. And then I've been training. When it's COVID time, after COVID, I started training with the MMA team as well.
Okay.
That made me to want to go for MMA, because I was like, oh, I have so much fun over here. Like, why not? And then eventually, my thing, like, it is jiu-jitsu. I have been training jiu-jitsu for many years. So every time when I have an option to do a boxing class or a kickboxing class and there is jiu-jitsu on, I always gonna go for jiu-jitsu, even though I wanted to go for MMA, and then you need to improve what you're not good at, you know, like, or like be better, you know. And then I always choose jiu-jitsu. And then eventually last year I got to compete more because I got more sponsors, so it gave me more opportunity and time to compete more. And then I realized, no, I think I have this passion and I want to fight. I have that anger inside of me for like fight in jiu-jitsu. I don't have this for MMA. So every time when I think about MMA, it doesn't turn it on like, oh my god, I want to fight MMA as much as I would fight in jiu-jitsu. And however, I would love to have the experience, but I'm not in a rush. It's just like, oh, if it happens, it happens. But I never dreamed to be a UFC fighter. I was just talking to John. He's just like, oh, you might go, you know, I have a feeling, but it's not something that I planned every day. However, my goals in jiu-jitsu for at least these 5 years will be competing like big tournaments, and then I want to be one of references for the ladies, like see and use me as like a good technique or a good like person that to move forward. I really want to do that, and then eventually become the best female coach.
You're going to be like the female John Danaher, or the female John Kavanaugh.
Yes, exactly. Like, and then there's few like Polaris, ADCC. Like, I love no-gi. I'm really into no-gi, and then especially because we're in the gym, there is MMA per no-gi. I think we need to get these opportunities to focus on. I still love the gi. It is where I came from. However, I got this feeling for no-gi, like moving more, like be fast, and wrestling as well. So it's just that combo. So if you ask about my goal, will be like focusing jiu-jitsu and then in competing as much as I can in like big tournaments to improve my technique as well. And then to be with like the other female jiu-jitsu players, or even male, to get the most technique and the most details and get the most experience from jiu-jitsu tournaments, and bring this to the mats, and then eventually like come back, coach as much as I can for ladies, and show to all these ladies, jiu-jitsu is not just about self-defense. It's much more. If you bring this to your life, that it's changed a lot. Your own life, your personal life, not just to go there and learn how to defend. So that will be my two goals, like become in the ranking very good in those no-gi rankings, and then eventually coach a lot of BJJ and show the world how much it's good.
Let's take it back to when you first started.
Okay.
What, I guess, when did you first start? Like, what was it like, you know, was there any, like, kind of contributing factors to you wanting to learn a martial art? Was jiu-jitsu where you started? Or did you try another martial art instead?
To be honest, in my head, I started jiu-jitsu because I started in the gym. A friend of mine who lives with me in Ireland, my best friend Juan, he wants to start the gym, and I was like, okay, let's start the gym.
Yeah.
And then I started the gym, and then in my head it was like just the gym and just like seeing people doing martial arts there. And then you know yourself when you start the gym, you're very excited, and then you want to do everything which is available in the gym. So that's what happens to me. So I want to do everything was available, and then Juan said to me like, let's do jiu-jitsu. I was like, no, like it's all sweaty and everyone's over there, mix of guys and 1 or 2 ladies at the time. And then he begged me to do with him, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So I did my first class, and then I say to everyone that I talked to, that was like my love in the first training, like my first love.
So you knew right away that this was something for you.
Yeah, like straight away I was like, oh my god, that's super cool, super nice. And then especially because of the guy when I was training, he said to me like, oh, have you done anything before? You were super strong. I was like, woo, yes. So that's how that I continues to do. Juan eventually give it up. He's like, that's not for me. But then I really fall in love in my first training for BJJ. Yeah. And then eventually I start to recognize there's something that I don't know how the word that you call it, but I have the feeling of feeling things, you know, like, and then when I started BJJ, I was like, no, there's more behind this. So I started associate with my life, and then I didn't have the perfect childhood or teenager, like I was I really have a tough life. Okay. And then eventually, like nowadays, I recognize the reason why I fall in love in the first training, because show me that I can have the strength to actually overcoming my issues in life. Yeah. So I actually recognize, I have that feeling that I was like, no, nowadays I recognize that the reason why I fall in love in the first training session.
Yeah, it's kind of like an outlet then for you. So like, you know, you have these, I guess, issues, and like you use this as kind of like a coping mechanism. Yeah. to help deal with that.
Was just I escape, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was just I escape because I always afraid outside. I could never say no to a friend because I was afraid for someone doesn't like me. I always being compared a lot to, like, I had my stepfather. I always compare myself with his child, you know, like their daughters, and then I was like, no, I'm not good enough, and then I cannot say no because somebody cannot like me the way that I am. I always, like, I kind of the child, I always think outside of the box. So my mom always like, what's she doing? Do you know, like every time I was doing something different, and then every person always points to myself that like, why she's doing this is different, like why she's not following everyone else. And then I recognize, and then I started to see myself, okay, like in BJJ, when I was doing, I get like my coaching seems different. It's like, Jaque, I like that because you did different. And then I wasn't being judged or compared to anyone else. And it was actually a place that I felt as I have like a family.
Finally, kind of you got that acceptance for being different.
For being different, yeah. And then like every time when I feel, and then nowadays, to be honest, I don't really mind what people say about me. I'm just myself. Jaque's, I actually, even funny story, my ex-boyfriend, he said like the reason why like that we broke up, he's like, oh, you're a very extrovert person. Yeah. And then he was like, you need attention all the time. I was like, yes, I do. You know what I mean? Like, it's, if you like someone, it's for you to be like, you be excited with the person. And I have that extra energy. Yeah. You know, even my therapist says, he keeps saying like, Jaque, please don't leave BJJ because otherwise you're gonna explode. I do have this extra that helps me with anxiety and all of that. However, on the mats, I was accepted the way that I was, of being different or be authentic or be myself, instead of like in my own house or like with my own family. They're just like, why you're not doing this? Why you're not following your cousins or your aunties or like.
What was it that they were doing that they felt like you should do it as well?
Yeah, it was just more about society in terms of. I was always super extrovert extroverted, and then I always like want to play different games, or let's create a new rules, or let's do something different that we haven't done before. And then it was like, no, you need to do this because everyone doing the same thing, you know. And then eventually my aunties and my cousins, my mom, I was just talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, you were the one that never, like, nobody was supposed to, like, giving you presents or gifts, or like was even like chocolates, like it was only like myself and your granny that used to be doing things to you, or like give things to you. And then I used all of that when I started BJJ to actually use my anger that I didn't know that I have inside, but eventually I had to become my strength. You know, so everything that happened before to me, I was like, I just need to do everything different and be myself.
That's your fuel to continue.
To continue, yeah. I brought a lot. I be able to put myself, like, okay, what I was doing in jiu-jitsu, like being struggling, or like learning how to defend a choke. Yeah. How can I do this outside when somebody try to compare myself with somebody else? You know. Even on the school, like when I was in the college or at school, I was always good at design and arts and everything which relates to be creative. Mm-hmm. And then I was like not really good in like Portuguese or, you know, like all the other things. And then I thought, I was like, oh my God, I'm so dumb because I don't understand this. Like I don't understand enough maths, or I don't understand this. However, I was good in something else. You know, so
I think it's kind of like that everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know, like I kind of felt a little bit like that myself, kind of growing up, because like I never really fit in, like with school. Like it just I didn't fit into that mold of someone who would perform well in school, and I always, and then it was a mix of kind of, you know, bad teachers.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I mean, I wasn't the greatest student to begin with, but you know, and. Yeah, it's. I'm trying to say, if you don't get that encouragement, especially from like adults in your life, like it's definitely tough. And you know, I don't think I think the generation before us didn't necessarily, you know to kind of embrace, you know, kids kind of just as they are, you know, and it was more of, you know, we have to. Everyone has to fall in line and kind of, you know, do the same, you know, and if you're different, then, you know, you kind of get criticized or ostracized for that.
Yeah.
And then as a kid, you don't necessarily know that you're being different. You know, you're kind of just being you, and then it's, you know, that certainly can have long-term effects on, you know, on someone, especially if it happens from a young age.
Yeah.
And so I'm certainly happy that you found something to, you know, to help you realize that, you know, you're not different, you know, you're just like everyone else, and that thing is now, you know, a passion of yours. So and that's kind of how I feel as well. Like whenever I meat someone new, like I always feel like people don't like me. I don't know what it is. Well, I kind of know what it is, or I kind of know where it stems from, but like I just feel like I always feel like people don't like me. And not that like I go above and beyond to try to be liked, you know, because I'm old enough now to where I just kind of accept it. Like, people like me or they don't. Like, it is what it is. But before, it used to really bother me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things with like jiu-jitsu is that it's kind of given me that confidence to not necessarily have to worry about it, or, you know, have it in the back of my head. And, you know, if I'm with someone, you know, like, do they like me? Do they not like me? What did I do wrong? Or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you need to understand the purpose that you are, like, in any place that you are.
Yeah.
Like, for example, on the mats, necessarily, like, people can like you or can dislike you, but you are there because of the jiu-jitsu and the community as well, which... In BJJ in particular, we are very open. We're like, oh, this is a new person, you know, like learn something new, or physically, like it doesn't matter if you're small or if you're big, if you're strong, if you're not. You are there to learn something that we love to, like why I would hate you or why I don't like you if you like the same thing as I do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually you're gonna have in your work, for example, if you have like a senior position, and then somebody like, there is few people that are not gonna like you because you challenge them or because you ask them to do something else. But do you really need to like you, or they are there to work?
Yeah.
Okay, they are there to work. So I think it's the situation that you need to put yourself in. Like, you're not gonna like people. Not gonna every people gonna love you, because we're all different and we have different habits and we like and dislike things. But like, what a person mean to you, do you know? And then I got criticized so much in my whole life for many things. And then I remember, actually, one day I was in that gym that I started BJJ, because it was the same team. It was just different franchises from the same group.
Yeah.
And then I was there, and then one guy said to me that I was training, and then I was white belt, and then I was competing the Brazilian World Championships over there. And then I was just by training, he just said, like, outside, he's like, oh, Jack, I don't know why Jacqueline is going to compete the World Championships, because she's not going to win anyway. I didn't win, but gave me so much anger inside of me that I was like, I'm going to compete anyway. And then by that time, I want to show that guy that I was...
Did that guy compete?
He didn't.
Yeah, so like...
Yeah, he didn't. And then, funny enough, I never thought about it, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And then I want to show that guy. Nowadays, when I look back, I was like, what that guy means to me? Do you know? Like, he didn't mean anything. It was just a silly comment that he made about myself. But truly inside, I know who I am. Do you know? By that time, I didn't. I think it becomes from the experience and the age as well. So nowadays, I really like when somebody says something to me, or like, why do you gonna ask Jackie to go, or why her? Like, I have something special that you might not have that means more to that person. Do you know? And then nowadays, I don't really get that personally, because I was like, listen, I have something that you don't, and then you do have something that I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes the same person gonna ask me something to do something else with her or with him, and then she's gonna ask you something to do differently. I think nowadays we just need to understand more, and then if somebody says something to me, I was like, okay, who is this guy from? What he does? And then, or if he criticizes me, or she, I was like, okay, what actually, like, why she's criticizing me? Does she can do better than I? If it's not, fine. If she can does, okay, what can I do better? I think what we need more, it's to have the empathy instead of ego.
Yeah.
You know, and that's any place, as you mentioned to yourself, like, oh no, I was really worried about, like, people don't like me. Like, if they don't like me, is that something that I did was wrong for like the world, or like, is there something that it's not nice? Yes, okay, what can I do different? And then if it's not, why you are saying this to myself if you're not even doing to you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
or if you're not, I think it's just about, like, to be aware about the environment and about the person that we talk to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your involvement with the UFC. Because I just, it's so cool to me that, like, because the UFC, like, it's the highest of high levels for, you know, anyone who has any kind of, you know, MMA or martial arts career. You know, it's the pinnacle for these people, and you are currently involved with Lucie
Pudilová.
There we go. I always say it incorrectly. Now, you've traveled with her to a few events, correct? And you're kind of like, you're her corner. What is it that you do for Lucie?
Well, my involvement with Lucie was since when she started in the gym, to be honest. So since when she started, we got so close, because she's such a hard trainer. She's like going forward, and she wants to learn and all of that. And then we got close because, I don't know, to be honest, it was just like, you know, when you like some person, then we start training together. She asked me a lot about, like, a few techniques about Jitsu as well, and then we started training together and drilled together. So then when we got closed, and then eventually I got surprised actually, because she asked me to go. She was in the octagon by that time, and then she's like, no, I really feel, I really remember her phrase, and it was very nice to hear, because she didn't have much English by that time. And then she said to me, I really feel comfortable around you, would you come over with me? I was like, oh, that's
awesome. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's a hell of a compliment too.
Do you know? And then I was like, yeah, I can go. And then in the first time, I have many times, like for other fights, I have like help cutting weight and on that week or that day. But with her, I spend more than a week like together. When every time when I travel to her fight, we always travel a week before.
Okay.
And then I was like with her, and then it's all about the mindset, the food, and the training that we have on that week. So eventually, it's the number 5 that I'm with Lucie. So all the time we have made improvements, and like now I know her pretty well. That like in the week that cutting weight, it's just I know her, the way her mindset works. So I know how to trick few things around. I know, because we're training together, I know the way she trains and what she can do with me. She's amazing boxer, great wrestling, and now she's phenomenal in BJJ.
I remember, sorry, I didn't mean to, I remember her, she broke her hand.
Yeah.
And when I saw that she broke her hand, I'm like, oh, like, well, she's probably going to be out for a little while. Nope. She was in the gym with one hand casted up, held one up, and just throwing punches in the ring with the striking coach. It was crazy because, you know, like I think any normal person would take that as like, okay, this is a time to take a break. But there were 0 breaks involved with Lucie when she did that.
She has that beautiful mindset of, the more I train, the more I improve.
Yeah.
I want to learn. She wants to learn, no matter what. And then I think that's what's the beauty about her, and that's I think that's the reason why we got so connected. Like myself, her and Sinead keep like fights to each other as hard as we can, and I was like, okay, that was great. Do you know, we actually get that inside of us, that the 3 of us, when we got stuck together, like we just want to go for. They are MMA fighters, so like the boxing and the stuff like that, which I can't add much with Lucie because she's already have that beautiful background. However, even the training that we do together, it's all about, okay, it's like the entries and level change, and then going for takedown, and then BJJ, and she has been incredible good in all the tournaments, and then all the fighters as well. And then when she asked me to go with her for the UFC, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. Like I got surprised as well. But then she said something like, I feel like that my fight's not the same if you're not with me. Yeah. And then I feel the same, because like I wanna be with her, I wanna help her as much as possible. And then on that week, it is all about the mindset, and then the training, and doing actually like everything for her, because she cannot be stressed. It's her fight week, is the most important moment of her life. So I try to do everything for her, from the food, from even let's go out. Like I plan her week, so she just don't stress anything about it. If she needs to go to the supermarket, what she needs, you need have a drink water, counting how much water that she drink that day, and then check her weights on the day after, how much she has dropped from one day to the other, to be accurate as much as possible for like on the way in, she doesn't need to suffer as much, you know. So I follow like every step of what she does, even though I know I wanna eat just a small piece. No, it's not time for you to eat now. So
like bat food out of her hand.
So I need to be strong as well on that week, because even though I see her like wants things to eat or to drink or do whatever, another thing, I was like, no, we're not gonna have this, we're gonna have something else. Let's go outside, let's walk on the park, let's do something that entertain you so you don't overthinking. So like we keep doing this, and has been worked so well. Unfortunately, like was pretty well for like since when we got together, like we should just like win. But the last one she won, but she got robbed.
Very disappointing.
Yeah.
I watched that fight back about 2 or 3 times just to see if I missed something, and no, it was just...
No, actually, her opponent, even after she came to us and she said, listen, if she wants a rematch, do you know, like, it really,
good.
you can tell that she knew, Lucie has won that game.
Yeah.
And then being on the event as well, like, know how it works on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It is very cool, it is amazing. But being with her, it's incredible, because that motivates me as well, like the way she trains and the way she does. I was like, that's professional, you know.
What are the perks of a UFC event? What are the perks of a UFC event? Like, do you get any freebies or anything like that? Or?
Well, you get everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, you get everything. Like since when you get there, like, you have, they give you everything, and then you can't be in front of the cameras. You can't be in front of the cameras with like normal clothes.
Oh, you have to have like a UFC gear on.
So you need like a bag with a lot of stuff, everything. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Does that go for you as well as
for
being
me
a
as
part
well?
of her team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For all the team.
Okay.
So not just Lucie. So like everything to be part of the team.
That's cool.
It is super cool. I didn't know. I just came back with a like huge bag at home with a full of stuff, like UFC stuff, which is great. They are great. Like, they are what they are because like even behind the scenes is everything. And it's funny enough how much it's on time, how much like they organize that they are like it's so the organization behind, like they, when we start over there, they give you like
it's a precision machine, you know.
Yeah,
probably get like a schedule that's probably
a schedule. Yeah, like, and then you can't be 10 minutes late because they call you, like you need to be on time for everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And then it's so hard as a company doing that, but they do, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you find like do you find it difficult to kind of travel and then have kind of that responsibility of, you know, trying to help Lucie be, you know, kind of stress-free and just make sare that she's as comfortable as she can be for fight night? Is like, do you find that difficult, or do you just enjoy it?
It's not difficult now, but when the time that I am with her, I know I need to be a strong mindset, and then no matter what, anything outside can't go into me, because she can have this feeling as well of like, why Jaque is not right. So I need to be strong for her all the time, because even though it's her fight night, she's super cool that she's like even ask, are you okay? You need to eat, you know, even though like the priority is her, she's still worried about myself. And I am of course like nervous from the time that we fly to US, because we need to make sure we're doing everything right. But I just don't show her, even though like the last wake-ups, like was just after she has her food and all of that, we were just like, we are afraid of you. Like, we just tell her after. I tell her after, but I don't tell before, or I don't show before. I'm like over there, and I make sure like for her I'm the strongest person on the side, so she knows she's in a good hands. However, inside that you have like, no, I need to be strong for her. I cannot showing anything which is outside of this environment.
Okay.
But inside of feelings, yes, I'm worried, I'm nervous, and all of that. The last time, even John, he said like, no, you go with her on the way in. I was like, I need to go? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was nervous.
You want to do what? Yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous to go and then be on the stage with her. You know, like make sure everything's right for her. But yes.
That's awesome. That's got to be an incredible feeling. I know you're there for Lucie, but just to be, you know, is almost as equally involved in all of that. That's got to be an incredible feeling.
Yeah. Especially because, like, I have in my mind that I want to be recognized as the best female coach. Yeah. So I like everything that I do for like females and coach, and I learn every time something different, and then that's I always try to be like learning what I'm here for. Like, I'm learning something different. I know how the other ladies prepping themselves as well. That could be an extra for even Lucie or even to myself when I go for a fight, to make sure I'm doing this, oh, that's something different. And it's great because you meet people, they're all professional, they are all in a good position, they all training different. And then every time you meet a coach or you do meeting like a fighter that add you something to your game that you don't even think about it. You know, it's just like, oh, why are you not trying this? Like, oh my God, that makes sense. So, you know, especially for us that love this environment, everything that have been said, it's good, it's a learn. Like, and then we get this mindset of like learning process and like, okay, I'm here, what can I learn? What can I learn? Because you get this from Jiu-Jitsu, any class in Jiu-Jitsu, you learn something. So if you're in your house or if your job or if it's particular in this environment, it's like, what can I learn from here? What can I ask this person? Like any advice, you know, I've been there, I'm not shy at all. So I've been there like meeting Jose Aldo. And then I was like, okay, what was the hardest fight that you have had? Or even with John Kavanagh, like spend time with like John. It's just a lot of experience that he tells you, or like that exchanging conversation. It's a learn, like, and then if you go with this open mind, you get a lot.
What's it like having a casual conversation with John? Like the times that I met him, he seems like a real nice, down to earth guy. But like, just how does that feel? Just because he's such a he's up there with, you know, some of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
And just to have a casual conversation with him, that's got to be. Do you think about that, or is it like, oh, it's just John, friends? You know?
No, I go between one and the other because like he's my coach and that's John. Like I see him every time, but then when you go outside with him, for everyone, that's John. And then for us as well, like I respect John so much, and actually, to be honest, I respect every coach. Like my coach John, and then I value a lot. I came from BJJ in Brazil, which there is like the discipline over there. It's like every time that you get into the mat, you actually shake the hand, ask the permission. So I'm very disciplined on this point. And by having this conversation with John, it's just like, what can I learn from John? Do you know, like, what can I have the opportunity to have one-to-one with him. Like, what can I learn from him?
It's awesome.
Could be either on the mindset perspective, could be technique, like being with him, cutting weight, like the process that he made, he made with Lucie, and then I was there, like helping him as well. So it's as I said before, it's just a lot to learn, and then knowing the person that you talk to. I can talking to a person that is like they're gonna add something on my life, but could be a different perspective. But having John, I know what I want to learn from him, and then sometimes he's not even learning. It's just a normal chat and normal conversation. That is like, I never thought about it. Or like even talk about techniques, you know, like, oh, you do this because of this. He's like, yeah, and then you can do that because of that. So it's just a lot of like a knowledge conversation. That's what I feel the most. And even about life experience as well. Like I ask him like the craziest stuff, like what's the craziest fight that I have had? Like I'm curious about to know, you know, so yeah.
Let's go on. So I know one of the things that you do is you teach women's self-defense. Now tell me about that. Like where do you teach that at, and you know, how can you get others involved, and what is it that you're actually teaching?
Yeah, so what happens is when we start coaching SBG, there was two like terrific attacks with ladies, and then like the newspaper shows instead of jiu-jitsu was self-defense classes, which is for me jiu-jitsu, it's one of the most important for self-defense, especially for ladies, because we always use the technique against to the other instead of like strength, and then that's why we started being like the title of self-defense. And to be really honest, which for me it's sad to say that, but ladies which is not involved with sports or mixed martial arts, they don't look at jiu-jitsu the way it should be looked. Like, oh, it's jiu-jitsu, it's fun, it's a new opportunity, it's gonna give me the confidence. They don't look that way, unfortunately. However, they see self-defense and it's like, oh my god, the way the world it is nowadays, I need to learn self-defense. So to be honest, it's more catching, like the name is more catching, because they will learn jiu-jitsu and they will learn techniques focus on the self-defense as well, because anyone that, even you, Tony, to be honest, you learn self-defense at the first classes. It's not named self-defense. That's it.
I understand. Okay, that makes sense. So where are you teaching that at? I know you teach SPG.
Yeah, so I teach in SVG on Saturdays. However, I have a partnership with Sports Ireland that so we teach twice a year. Well, it really depends, once or twice a year, from like county council, and then we offer ladies for like no like big prices, like but then it's very cheap one, and then they have like a full experience of between 3 and 6 classes of pure self-defense, focus on self-defense. However, they learn how to hip escape, for example, when there is someone on top of you, which involve jiu-jitsu and self-defense if you need to know. So it is a mix. And then in every single class that I do coach, I explain this to them. You don't need to do only because self-defense. And then to be honest, you can't do this in only 6 class. It's just an introduction, because as you know, as jiu-jitsu practitioners, so you know it's all about repetition. So the more you do, more you're gonna be in your unconscious attention that you're gonna do by not even notice that you are doing.
Muscle memory, you're just going to do it without thinking about it.
Exactly, like you hip escape so much that you know if you're in that position, you're going to hip escape. The only thing that you can do is hip escapes. So nowadays, I try to, instead of now have my own group, I try to go all over and then coach a lot, like doing workshops, like in any places. Like I've done one in Ace recently. I want to do one over here. So I want to like explore more, because my idea is not to have my gym and only my female, but I said to you at the beginning that I dream big, and then my idea it is to show more as much as I can how good jiu-jitsu it is, especially being a woman, and know where that I have been through. Show them. It's not about like, no, show only female then just a male. I will support a male as much as possible as well, but being a female and know how we are makes a difference than I show a male only. It can be mixed. But then I know how much on my first day in jiu-jitsu, I look at the mats and it's just like, they're more male. It's not good. And unfortunately, like that's what they still think about it.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see the appeal of kind of like a women's only or a women's dominant class.
Yeah, because they're gonna learn first. They're gonna break the barrier.
Yes. It's
like, I'm doing something, but all the ladies there are doing as well. And then eventually they're gonna learn the importance of jiu-jitsu. It's just a door for them to know what it is, and once they know, then they will be able to do anyway with male and female. Because particularly myself, I love training with male guys, and then I never had any experience of like being on the mats or any disrespect from any guys. They all respect me so much, and then that's all about like you're gonna meet like gentle guys to just gonna stop and then explain to you, and then you're gonna meet few guys that wanna roll with you very hard because you have learned like you want this as well. So you're gonna meet all of them, and then all of them they have the respect for you. It's just about to break that barrier or that thought that society put it from outside, that just martial arts just for male.
Do you have any upcoming classes or seminars or anything?
So we're gonna have one over here on the 20th. Locomotiva BJJ.
On the 20th.
On the 20th. May. Okay, cool. So we're gonna have that over here, and then I want to do a few more as well. So we're just looking.
How do you go about signing up or participating for that?
So I'm gonna create a link on the Eventbrite, and then I put on usually my Instagram as well, by the time we can send it, and you can put
I'll
here,
have it down here as well.
Yeah.
So check
Yeah, and then we're just gonna put the ladies to increase, and then sign it up to the program.
There's going to
as
be
well.
a cost, I assume.
Yeah, there's like usually we do charge because it's myself and 2 more ladies.
Okay.
So this workshop is specifically, it's not like a proper class, but what you're gonna learn is about your self-development with Lorna Lawless,
Yep.
because she is a therapist. So she go through all the negative thoughts and all of that. And then there is with Lauren, because she's brilliant in yoga and meditation. And then she's gonna go through all about like female cycle as well. And then it's gonna be me with like a physical side of body language and the self-defense as well. So it's around like 3-4 hour seminar, and then you get all of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend that to a few people I know.
Yes, please do. Yeah, the more people gonna know about it, the better. And then, as I said to you before, it's not. I don't think about like keep the ladies to me. Like what I really want is just like see more ladies in other gyms, like doing BJJ.
You definitely see more women now, I think, than probably even 5 years ago.
Sure.
You know, I'd say the numbers have gone up quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, like I have 2 daughters now, and I want them both to be involved. So like I say like I have a vested interest in trying to get more women involved in the sport, because I have 2 girls who I want involved in the sport, and I want them to have, you know, women to look up to and to aspire to, you know, be like yourself, and and I hope that they will.
Thank you.
Even if, you know, they don't choose to go the route of any kind of martial art or anything like that, still to have strong women who are, you know, a part of society and everything. You know, that I think that's great, and I think you are a, you know, wonderful role model for others who just aspire to be different, or who are different and are looking to kind of, you know, accept themselves as being different.
Yeah, I think like with there's many ladies that they have like big and power in the society, but I think what I feel different about BJJ or have a senior level of like a role in their job that gives them power as well. Like if you see a referee as a woman, like it's different, it's empowering. But what I feel about Jiu-Jitsu, it's more physically. So it's bring even more, like when you actually do things with your hands and with your body, you'll be able like, no, I am strong, and then eventually will change your mind as well. Because in every single position, you practice BJJ, you know yourself, you are uncomfortable. Like every time.
You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly, that's like, that's the truth. And then when you bring this to the other place, like when I have a senior manager and senior role, it's nice and then it's fine, I need to be strong, but then when you're actually doing something strong as physically, you became even stronger. That's what I feel, because I've been in the 2 positions, like before BJJ and then after, and even though I had like other job rules that gave me like, no, I need to talk. I used to work with the government in Brazil, so I need to talk with people like that I see it's important in front of me. And then I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna do that? And then after that, when I started BJJ, I was like, it's the same thing how you escape from a choke. Let's go. Or, you know, or like make a sales, for example, like, okay, I need, actually Sergey, the wrestling coach, once he said that to me, and then I never forget it, that he's like, the sales job for me, it's like win a wrestling match. You know, I want to see my hand up after I make some sales or after I make something. I was like, that's so true. And then eventually you're like, oh yeah, that's right. So for me, even though making a sales was like win a competition. So how am I gonna do that? So training, be good with my diet, and make sure I have a good performance. So in my job, like how to make a sales, okay, I need to make sure I know my products, I know the client, and then I know how I'm gonna talk to them and what the benefits my product's gonna give to their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like
that's certainly a different way to look at it. And
Yeah.
it definitely applies.
Yeah, I think like when you start bringing jiu-jitsu to your own life and just play around, you know, like how can I do this if it was BJJ? Okay, I need to train, I need to eat well, and then I need to perform or doing cardio.
Yeah.
How am I gonna do in 3 steps for do what my boss asked me to do in my job?
Yeah.
Just be creative. I guess like in my head, it's like it's very easy for me to switch when I have some difficult thing in front of me. It's like, oh my God, that's tough situation. What am I gonna do? And then straight away, like, okay, what I would do if I'm rolling? And then I do the steps. So I count it's 3 steps. Okay, how can I do this in 3 steps? You know, and then eventually it's like my unconscious attention is straight away telling me that, and then I switch on. You know, it's not easy, but it's practicing.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, practice for sure. Repetition.
Repetition, yeah. 100 times.
All right, look, there are so many more questions I want to ask you, but unfortunately I am running out of time. I really enjoyed this conversation and I want to do it again. Hopefully we can do it again soon. But with that, I'm going to end it and, you know, go ahead and, if you want to, do you want to shout out anyone or do you want to have any, or we'll promote your event coming up here at Locomotiva BJJ. You'll be able to find it on Eventbrite. Like I said, we'll link it down below.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much for this invitation. It's great what you're doing to show all the words about mixed martial arts.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
No problem.
I really want to thank you, my coaches as well, and all the places that gave me the opportunity to show a little bit more my work. We're gonna have the event over here on the 20th as well to bring few ladies to introduce a little bit more about BJJ. And yes, there is a phrase that I always say that a woman never should like lower her head unless it's for defend that choke. So every time, chins up, and then be confident with yourselves.
Awesome.
So thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Everyone, check out Locomotiva BJJ. Check out Wolverine Fightwear. It's where you'll find all the latest information on Combat Confidential. Follow me, the Michigan Mauler, on Instagram. And Jackie is
Jaque Almeida. And there is something that I want to talk about Wolverine. It's one of the best qualities clothes that I've had. So find out because it is very good.
definitely. It'll all be linked below.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Go, 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 go.